we better just go on.
You see 6.
Hmm?
You see 6.
6 axes.
Is that what you wanted to revisit? It might be in the next slide, so
there's no easy leap for me to go to the next thing, so I kind of blanked out. Okay, next, please. The dandelion puff principle, spirits metadata contained within every number. That's really wonderful. In other words, each one of those numbers has it's a hologram, and it's an emanation coming from right here that's creating these numbers. I discovered this symbol when I was 18. See how the right and left's a mirror of this symbol? It's like a butterfly, the axis. 1 and 8 line up, 2 and 7. We'll come to that later. I knew that couldn't be a property known to man, that they missed that of present day, because you knew about the XYZ axes. You never knew about the W axis. What I'm explaining right now, I made a claim in my flyer for this talk. I am going to explain the secret of the most advanced computer that will ever be known. I'm going to explain the secret that will obsolete all PCs, all Apple computers, every operating system known to man. Before I'm done here, I will obsolete the binary code, but not yet. So this right here is horizontal. Horizontal. Something has to cause things to diskette. They even say, though you probably haven't heard this, that our universe is a flat sheet. They even say that our solar system is a saucer. It's a spiral. Something is causing this lining up. But what is so significant, even it's taken me my whole life to appreciate that this being a right angle to this is so profound. Okay? And another thing I'm just telling you, but don't worry about it, is this doesn't stay x. The x then becomes here, the y becomes here, the z goes there. Everything is much more complicated than what you're seeing right here. I'm just giving you a freeze frame of time right now. The other thing is this makes a diamond in the center, which is the axis. The axis is everything. Okay, Jimi Hendrix says, bold as love, the axis, he knows everything. Everyone ever see that album with Jimmy with the cobra on the front? Mm-hmm. I grew up on that. Try and take that away from me, I'll fight you tooth and claw. So the axis is unique. It's represented by the number 9. Number 9 has a unique property. There's no other number like it because it never changes. Multiples of 9 is always itself 9. And it's the axis. And the axis is unique because it can't be over to the right or to the left. If you take a gyroscope, turn it on, it will, if this pen was spinning and wobbling, as faster it spins, eventually it would be vertical. It would be standing up. So when God talks about the Aleph, when it's written in all those languages, it's always a blade of grass. It's always upright. And they're hiding these clues. Go right ahead.
So is 9 always...
Speak a little bit louder for me.
Is 9 always on top and on the bottom?
No. Wonderful question. 9 is on the zenith. It's the apex 9. It is, there's nothing there. And it's lined up over 0. Once we spin, so how, and this center to the circle is over here. To get the center back into the circle, we have to have motion, equilibrium.
What about the negative when you flip it? Like when it's 9...
That's not what a negative is. That's not what a negative is. It's not what a negative is. But you know what? That's a detail. And right now I'm not going into conventional stuff as much as I'm going into the solution or the answer. Go ahead, Lisa. Were you going to say something?
Is he referring to the Z-pinch?
Hmm?
Is he referring to the Z-pinch? Maybe that's where he was coming from.
Just yeah, essentially.
The flip ring.
The flip ring over there.
See, I never watched that video. She's been trying to get me to watch it forever.
No, I haven't seen the video. I'm just going by what you're talking about.
This is a coil. See how it's a lazy 8, infinity, never ends? This also is a coil, but you don't see it yet. This is 50% of the numbers, that's 50% of the numbers. We come to put them together. Our body is called this mortal coil. Everything that exists on the third dimension is a coil. And coils always come in pairs. And they always counter spiral. And they always work together. But that's another story later on. As far as what you're asking, though, the technology that will save mankind and save our planet, that will get rid of the combustion engine, that will get rid of nuclear power, believe me, I would get rid of nuclear power yesterday. I'm so much against it for different reasons. Because plutonium is the most dangerous thing ever discovered by man. In the entire universe, there's nothing more deadly than plutonium. And I'm not worried about plutonium. I don't even think man can maintain a tea kettle, let alone a nuclear reactor. We're so incompetent.
You're right.
So the thing that'll save mankind is called mirror symmetry coils. The best example of a mirror symmetry coil is the baseball. Did you know they can't have a baseball game if you were to make, say, for instance, instead of that S-curve on the baseball, if you were to make it like quilt work or patchwork or something, that pitcher couldn't throw that ball. He couldn't throw a curveball. Did you know that how that S-curve reacts with the air around it as it moves through air? It causes it to either go straight or spin, depending on how he grips that S-curve. It's a very, very...
It's a spiral.
It is a spiral, precise spiral. And there's even more I could say, but I don't want to go there right now. So I mentioned something here. The first I mentioned was equilibrium. To get the whole back into the center, everything has to move. So thus, equilibrium is different than balance. This symbol is in balance, but it is not in equilibrium. Our world is equilibrium because everything's moving around the axis. Nothing goes through the hole. Everything, when water goes down the drain, you see it makes a hole because you have to equalize the pressure on both sides. The hole has many functions and purposes. And everything defines the hole by going around the lip of the hole. Still with me? This line overlapping is not touching right here. There is a hole there. And this diamond in our culture and every culture represents perfection. That's why you give your honey a diamond ring. It represents perfection. We will continue. Oh, well, no, I'm not ahead of myself. Okay, next, stay. Positive emanation creates negative direct counter space. For every reaction, there are two half-opposite equal reactions. Oh, two half-opposite. Word equal should have been there. I forgot it. Okay, and we were going to show the negative for positive emanation creates negative direct counter space, but we didn't have that slide. This is only showing 50% of it. It looks like a spiral. It is not, because this is spirit emanating. It is a straight line. Only spirit can travel in a straight line. That's why Einstein's E equals mc squared is called the theory of relativity, the curvature of space-time reality. Its fundamental attribute is curvature. What's causing it to curve? You don't have curvature unless something's causing it to precess and warp. Spirit warps everything. It penetrates, reticulates, and warps everything. Okay, next slide, but I'm not going to start talking about it. We're just going to rest on it for 1 second. Kinetic waves of 9. I'm being rough on you guys. This is not an easy talk. Is this an easy talk? Not really, huh? Are you guys okay?
Yeah. Bring it.
Okay.
Bring it.
Okay. All right, so we're going to do waves of 9. What's a wave of 9? Oops. No. Oh, we're going to go back. Oops. Oh, well. Oh, there we go. So that's 9. So a wave would be, if you try, the most common, I believe, the most famous, most number of times covers for physics books that exist, the greatest number of times, is the little drop of water, a pebble, going into the pond and it making concentric circle waves, right? We've all seen it. So 9's where the pebble's hitting, and the waves are the numbers around it going out in concentric circles. It could have been any number. It could have been 7, 2, 5, 1, whatever. So if I add up all those numbers, they will equal 9. So if I begin at the 2 and go around and equal and end on the 1 and then add it with that number in that center, if there's really, so this is a z-axis. A z-axis is perpendicular. It's tangential. In other words, if I shoot a bullet through that wall is the surface. This is the surface, and the bullet's puncturing it. That 9 is puncturing it, and it's making ripples, a waveform. So 2 plus 4 equals 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. 9 plus 8.
We have an animation for that if you want to stand.
But I will do that. Okay. No, I know we do.
Okay.
I'm deliberately coddling them right now. 2 and 4 equals 6. 6 and 3 and actually I'm making them exert themselves, because then when they see it, it'll kind of be like easy. So 2 plus 4 is 6, 6 and 3 is 9, 9 plus 8 equals 8, because 9 plus 8 equals 17, 1 plus 7 equals 8. Now that, some people can't even handle that. That's called, in computers, that's actually acceptable in computer science, because they know that in computer science, any huge number has a single discrete number, single digit corollary, comparable. So sure enough, that's because any number can be reduced to a discrete number by constantly removing the modulus, which is 9. So if I had right here, what was that? 2 and 4 is 6, 6 and 3 is 9, 9, 8 is 17. So if I did 17 minus 9, that would have equaled 8. Do you follow that? That's called casting out 9s. That's called cross addition. I could have just written 17. I could have gone 1 plus 7 equals 8. Now, it looks superstitious, doesn't it? It looks like child's play, doesn't it? It looks like it's doomed to failure. But I'm not interested in whether it's a little number or a big number even. I'm going to take the strongest stance I can. I don't care. I'm interested in the pattern it makes. What numbers are making a pattern? And this pattern I haven't explained to you. Every single employee at Microsoft, every single employee at Apple should have known this pattern, and they don't. They've never even seen it before. Because everything they do all day is based on that pattern. Okay? Because 1 doubles to 2, 2 doubles to 4, 4 doubles to 8, 8 doubles to 16, but that's not 16 because I only use single-digit numbers because I'm looking for the pattern. I want to know what tile connects to the next tile, connects to the next tile, because I'm looking for a map, a street map, a guide, a rat maze. Okay? And so what is 7 doing after 8? It always comes after 8 when you go sideways or diagonal. And 5 is always after 8 by 2 steps when you go sideways or diagonal. It's because 16 doubled is 32, 3 plus 2 equals 5. I could have said 7 doubled is 14. It doesn't matter whether it's a 14 or 32, it still must equal 5. So then I'm back to where I began. 64 is 10 is 1. And not only is there one of these pathways going this way, but there's another one going in the reverse direction. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, which equals 11 is 2. That's called doubling. It's called bifurcation. It's called a geometric progression. It is an exponent. But it does not come from any of those mathematical functions. It comes from clefting, being split in half, because from spirit. Because you have 4 cells, 8 cells, 16 cells. There isn't anything in this our universe that doesn't use this principle. So everything I'm talking about, I'm saying I'm using the most fundamental principle. It's called the gut principle. Or the acronym for it is called the Grand Unified Field Theory, or gut equation. Okay, next please. So that was a quick prelude. Scripture again. I call thee, O manifest yet hidden, O unseen yet renowned, because the whole thing about this is for you to learn how to see the hidden and the unseen. O onlooker sought by all. And whatever I'm showing you, all those numbers, everything sees us at all times. I have found the all-seeing eye of God, and it's everywhere in our world. Next, please. Baha'u'llah. So, oh, it's showing it. So there's a 9. Is something going to happen? Go ahead, let her rip. 1, 2, 4. This is called an underpinning nested vortices. It's not going to that 8 there. It's going to this 8 here when you're dealing with underpinning nested vortices. Okay, so now we took the 9 again. This is base 10 up to, and now I'm showing polarity of the numbers. What numbers have polarity? Okay, oh, now we're seeing the waves of 9. So there's 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1. That will equal 9, because I'll show you. Let's go. 7, 5 is 12 is 3. 6 and 3 is 9. 9 plus 1 equals 10. 1 plus 0 equals 9. 1 plus 2 equals 3. 4 plus 3 equals 7. 7 plus 3 equals 10 equals 1. 1 plus 8 equals 9. 9 plus 9 equals 18 equals 9. This 9 is generating this waveform. So let's do this one now. Everyone still with me a little? And it doesn't matter what number you use on this map. And what am I showing? Kinetic energy. I'm showing that Newton's cradle, except I'm showing it on a hypersphere, a torus. 8 plus 4 is 12 equals 3. Now, if we had a nice automatic number counter and it was adding them up and showing them, and I wouldn't have to say all this, I wouldn't like that because this is tiring. But I have no choice because we don't have that. 8 and 4 is 12 is 3. 3 plus 2 equals 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 plus 6 equals 13 equals 4. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 2 equals 11 equals 2. 2 and 1 is 3. 5 and 3 is 8. 8 and 7 is 15 equals 6. 8 and 6, 5. 8 and 5, 4. 4 and 3, 7. 7, 4, 11, 2. 7 and 2, 9. Plus 9 is 27 equals 9. So it's zeroing out. See, in computer science, we always say it's zeroed. It's nothing. But they're wrong. Nothing is nothing. It's not canceling out. It's everything. It's 9, but 9 is always invisible. You can't see it. Okay? So this isn't energy cancellation. This is energy survival. Okay? And now we've got a new one. Do I have to add it up? Do you believe me it equals 9? Okay. Now bear in mind I could have done it around number, but let's keep on going. And Lisa was going to take out a lot of these. And I said, no, leave them in. Next one, please. Because I wanted you to see it with other numbers. So now we're doing 8. And I like how you did this, Lisa, very much. I would have nothing today. Do you know what I'd be doing if it wasn't for this presentation? I'd be using a pen and paper. Do you know what that would be like? It'd be a nightmare. So I'm going to begin here, and end here. 8 and 4 is 12 is 3, 7, 3 is 10 is 1, 9 plus 1 is 1, 3 and 1 is 4, 4 and 3 is 7, 7, 4 is 11 is 2, 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 8 is 17, 1 plus 7 equals 8. So bear in mind, it doesn't matter what number you use, it always stays there. So that means that these numbers, like filings on a bungle drum, when you have sand and you put sand on a drum, it's going to make a pattern, and the pattern doesn't move. But what is moving is the functions. And I haven't even told you guys what the functions are yet, what's happening in this thing. Okay? But I'm letting you know that this thing is alive, that numbers are alive. This thing has consciousness. We are swimming in a sea of awareness, and we don't even know it. What's your name, please? Roger, I have to drag you, pull you out on the rug and drag you over the coals since you're late.
Right.
But go ahead.
It's okay. I'm ready.
So what was your question, please,
Can
Roger?
I temporarily think of this as some kind of wave propagation until I learn more? Is this like
And I'm sorry I have my back to you most of the talk, too.
I just sat down.
It is all wave propagation. You're 100% right.
Surface of a hypersphere, a toroid.
Yes, correct.
For the moment, I'll keep listening.
But it's wave propagation on all axes, x, y, and z. And those axes I double, because I give one of them, instead of it being all positive on the top and all positive on the right, and then negative on the bottom and negative on the left, I keep my axis being multiplication series, and they're all of the same polarity. Essentially, I take a chessboard, and all the black are negative and all the white are positive, and you'll see what I mean as we go along with that. And then I added one more axis, which, see, you did a favor for them, because what I was saying was, but I never finished my statements, was that in Wikipedia and on the fourth dimension and on the W-axis, when you look it up in Wikipedia, they use a tesseract and they use a hypercube. I obsolete all that, and it's so primitive. I'm using a hypersphere. And there's a saying, all roads lead to Rome. Every branch of science, everything known to man, leads to the torus, the hypersphere. Just so you know, the torus is the grand unified field theory. Just saying it.
Which is the trumpet of Gabriel.
It's loud. What is it, Roger?
The trumpet of Gabriel.
Well, I won't respond to that only because that is such a profound... No, I will respond to it. But don't do that again.
Okay.
You didn't hear me say...
No, you didn't say that.
No. In the beginning of the class, that when I start interacting with the audience, I get nothing done.
Oh.
And you don't want that. But I will answer the... But I'm acting very pompous. I'm going to act very haughty. I'm going to say this is the answer. I'm going to act like I'm verbatim. I'm absolute, and my word is the final word. The trumpet of Gabriel is the letter B. In religion, in the Bismillah, in the Quran, they say all of the Quran is encompassed in the beginning, opening statement in the name of God. And all that statement is connected in the first letter, which is the letter B. And they say everything in that is in the point under the B. This happens to be the most sacred holy thing that you lighted upon. And the B, the point under the B, is called the primal point of unity, which happens to be the Z pinch, the center of the two vortices, in my estimation. And the letter B in Arabic, Farsi, Hebrew, which is abjad numerical notation, happens to be the number 2. There's only 2 numbers that connect to the number 1 in this system that I'm using for as far as diagonal, which is the number 2 and the number 0.5. In this case, it's a 5. And as you see, they're the same number, but inverted upside down. Well, you know that, okay? And when you overlap them, you get the lazy 8, the infinity. And everything is based on 2. Because if you were to take so let's take the person, the parable, it's an old fable. The man who invented chess for the king, he was so delighted the king, he said, I'll give you anything in my kingdom you want. And so the man who invented, does everyone know this story, a few of us? He said, okay, I know what I want. I want the king, I want 1 piece of grain of wheat on the first square. I want 2 pieces on the second square. I want 4 on the third square. I want 8 on the 4th square. He says, and I want that amount of wheat by the time you get to the 64th square as my reward for inventing chess. Well, by the time he got to the 64th square, it was more wheat than has ever been grown on the planet. It's impossible. It doesn't exist. Do you agree with that, Roger? That
It's a lot. I don't know that it's more than ever been grown.
Oh, you're too impartial. You're too neutral.
It was more than the kingdom had at that time.
More than the kingdom had. So that's called exponential growth. That's called 2n. And so the number 2 and the number 5 are the same symbol, and the ancients encrypted that in our symbology. Now, we have such a nice illustration for where this goes next, this conversation, that I will just say, keep going, or we'll never get through these illustrations. And I said I was going to go through this fast. So just let her rip. I won't even count them out. Now we're using the 1 emanating. I won't even count them out. Let her rip. Next. Let her rip. Base 10. Let her rip. Because this whole torus is just emanating. Everywhere it's emanating. Never thought I could not talk with each slide for 10 minutes, did you? Let her rip. Waves of 9 reveals the latent potential energy waiting to be harnessed and released by the Rodin coil hypersphere. So my last name's Rodin, and Vortex Based Mathematics demonstrates the existence of this latent potential energy, proving that numbers are real and alive. And that's the hardest point to make. The reason it's called the Rodin coil is because I'm the spearhead. I'm the human battering ram promoting this. But I called it the flux thruster atom pulsar. Actually, my friends did. Didn't too hard, too confusing, so it's just the Rodin coil. Call it whatever you want. Vortex-based mathematics. That's the kind of math I'm talking about. You haven't begun to even see it yet. Has to do with the electron shear. Has to do with underpinning nested vortices. Haven't even gotten there. Numbers are real and alive. That's my claim. Why am I making that claim? Because I should be the most successful, wealthiest, living in comfort person on the planet with a claim like that if it was valid. The other thing it gets me is a love me jacket. Does everybody know what a love me jacket is? A love me jacket is a jacket that they put on you that's white. It's called a straight jacket, and you keep on hugging yourself. You love yourself. That's what you get for that. Okay, real numbers are real and alive? What are you talking about? Next, please. That's the invention. That's what this torus makes. That's the actual coil. It's an iron core, and it's, in this case, it's very little copper. It creates a gyroscope laser effect at the center. And that coil was bought out in 2016 for over €1 million. But because I wouldn't be able to make this presentation today if I took any money, I refused to do it. But I told the engineer, take the money. One thing you never do is stand in between your team members and money. Trust me. And so I said, go right ahead. But I did not accept it. And again, so the existing Rodin coil technology already gets rid of the weight problem in motors and coils. Now, I believe it can be printed as a circuit. I think it should be made out of plasma. I believe I can make a spaceship out of that. I believe I can use that to, not as a radionic device, so they've done tens of millions of dollars of sales as that to treat and heal people for deadly diseases. I don't espouse that. I don't teach that. I don't promote that. That's what other people have done independent of me. What I believe is that you can do gene splicing with it. But we'll save that for the next slides as it comes up. Quantum macroscopic heat engine. Because if I have taught you the secret of how to make a spaceship, you will understand how to do it on a macroscopic level. I'm going to show you that all quantum effects can be duplicated on the macro or gross level. That quantum is not confined to micro. And they know that now. They know that in Astro D, Physics Magazine, and everything else. We don't know it because we're not keeping up with the most latest research in the last year or two. They are creating macroscopic quantum results. All this exotic materials and cryogenics will all be obsolete because you can do things on the large scale. But we haven't gotten there in an explanation yet, and it'll be hard for me. We may have to come back to find a good slide to do it. Next, please. Oh, we never did do a hologram slide in all of these. We never got to it. Spirit is latent potential energy. I'm not even going to read it, but it's what I've discovered. Next, please. It's too much for me to read. Everything's too much for me. We're only like 100th into the presentation. 2 superimposed worlds. Why would I name it that? Because when God has a secret and he hides it, he does it by overlapping it. So I have 2 hands here, but you can't see the second one. So they're superimposed. This discovery is that the 396, that the base 10 system is not one system. Everybody thinks it's base 10. It's not. They're 2 completely separate systems, helically woven together. 396 is a completely different world than the 124875. When you separate them, you no longer have a blurry watercolor. You no longer get endless non-repeating decimals. You no longer get approximations. You don't have to take it up to the next number. If it's over 5, under 5, you don't have to round off, because there's another way of doing math. Next, please. If you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, then you would have a key to the universe, Nikola Tesla. So I claim to know the secret of the 3, 6, and 9. And that's a family number group. But when I'm using it, it's palindrome 396. 9 always comes in the middle of 3 and 6. 3 and 6 are always on the outside. And DNA follows this pattern. And if you can follow, 3 and 6 is magnetic. 9 is spirit. They're inseparable. Only magnetic fields can respond fast enough to give slippage and free play to spirit. And when spirit's going forward, the magnetic fields are going in the reverse direction. Next, please. It's crazy. And if I'm right, that's even really, really crazy. So Einstein's cosmological constant would be, I'm saying, lambda is apogee 9. And I love this illustration. And thank you, BJ, who made this. And there's the number 9 at the top. And I'm trying to show how it works. And we would have to have a whole workshop that would go for 3 days to totally get the feel for it. Next, please. This is a very important slide. It's a little slow loading. Yeah. Yeah. And we're going to get to all that, I hope. Transdimensional, interdimensional, omnidimensional. 9 is the control. Only the number 9 lines up vertically over the 0. So 9's lining up over the 0. We talked about it. Creating an invisible w-axis. This orthogonal, that's the secret. It's a right angle to this axis. It's orthogonal. It's perpendicular. Runs perpendicular. It's a right angle to the 124875. It's the relation of this to this. It's the relation of heaven. I'm claiming this is another world. This is the relationship of heaven to our physical world. And it's amazing how this world, how our world is dependent on that world. And I will come back to this symbol. Bear in mind, you recognize there's the base 10 numbers, 1 through 9. And you see it's a right and left mirror. It's all made out of triangles. We'll come back to this. So the blinking sapphire arrow charts spirit's omnidimensional pathway from the unmanifest into the world of form. It's a very beautiful line. Next, please. It's an honor and a privilege for me to be able to present this. I'm as much as a voyager on this as you. The Mobius circuit. The superfluid preferred longest mean free pathway of least resistance for electrical superconductivity always follows this bounded infinity circuit. So now we're getting a little bit farther along. Now you got your next or true picture animation, your first one. I don't have many. And what's it doing? I have illustrations that show this, but I'd rather talk it with the animation. You start with 1. 1 God, 1 universe. It doubles, becomes 2. That's Gabriel's trumpet. 4. Because the B is not a bilabial stop. It's a plosive. So when I say the most great name of God, I don't say, which is the superlative comparative case, I'm just going to race through it, is Baha, means glory, in Arabic, Aramaic. It's a loan word out of Arabic to the Farsi language. It's in the Bible. It's in the Torah. It's in the Quran. It's in Buddhism. It's in everything. And the superlative case of Baha, which is the higher case, the highest, is called Abha. And that represents, that translates to splendor, wondrous, or glory. That's the heavenly world. And the B is not said as a B, which is a bilabial stop. When I say the most great name of God, based on my understanding, it becomes like Gabriel's trumpet. I go, like the buzzing of a bee. Completely different. And I had to learn all this math to help me understand that. So what happens is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, but I'm back to where I began. So why is the I Ching 64? Why is it the $64,000 question? Not because 8 times 8 is 64. We thought it was. Why?
The chessboard.
Loud.
For the chessboard.
What is that?
4 squares.
The chessboard.
4 squared?
The
No, no.
chess.
The chessboard.
Chess.
The chess game.
Chess game?
Oh,
64.
And the chessboard 64 too. Thank you very much. It's because it's one complete cycle of infinity. And it's not infinity of a straight line direction. It's infinity of a spin continuum. It's infinity of duration. So 64 doubles 128, but 1 plus 2 plus 8 equals 11 is 2. 256 equals 13 is 4. 512 equals 8. 1024 equals 7. 2048 equals 14 is 5. There's only 6 numbers in infinity before it repeats. So infinity isn't infinite. It's a bounded infinity, like the electron orbital. That's a big deal. I'm taking the binary code, which is doubling, right? We understand computers. And I'm saying I can turn conventional computers, I'm taking this back to how to make a supercomputer, and I can take that binary code and I can say, I'm not interested in how many transistors I can pack into the smallest processor I can make. I'm interested in cycling. How many times I go around. Hey, every high school, every college has a track and it's in a circle. It's not in a straight line. I'm interested in making a track for computer logic processors. Everyone see my vision?
Yes.
It's different. Do you agree? They're not doing that?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're instead thinking that it's a huge, endless process. And I'm saying, no, it's periodic. It's repetitive. It's recursive. But I had this when I was a teenager. I did not know that the 396 was that red dotted line. When I had that as a teenager, I didn't have it correct. I had that as a solid line, because see how it's the same angle and the same ratio? You see this waveform in the circle? See this waveform in the circle? Because I took the most great name of God, the equation, out of the scriptures, which is the 2 and the 5 connecting to the 1, because that's in Arabic is the B. That's the H is the 5. I'm not using the English order of the letters. I'm using their original scriptural language. Why? Because they say the prophets deliberately revealed it in those languages because they said those languages, the sound embodies the essence of what it's describing. They said it was a spiritual language. So I was going by their rules. Hey, I'm not a prophet. I'm an adherent. I'm trying to learn what they're teaching. Okay? I'm just trying to reverse engineer and look for the clues. But that's enough. I won't keep going. Okay, bounded infinity, 396. Haven't even begun to explain this because everybody today, we're making computers that are using the binary code. Nobody knows how to use the 396693 to do calculations yet in a supercomputer. No one knows that you can't have the binary code without the 396693. I'm telling every computer scientist that you don't even have the whole picture yet. That's unbelievable. That there's another pattern, number pattern, in calculating that is indispensable to these calculations, which is the 396. Okay, remember we really have 18 numbers, not 9, because I could hide another 9 behind them. Remember I had polarity before, but because I give away the house and I share so much freely, I want to torture you. Inflict a little misery, a little pain on you. It's not much pain, just a little Chinese water, little Chinese torture. So, you see 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. You already think you're a master of that. Is everyone a master of it? You must be. You know one. You think you are. What's this? 396. Okay. So if I go from 3, because we know if I go 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, I'm going to go back to 1. You can't leave the train track, okay? You're on a rail. But what happens with this? And bear in mind, why is it a dotted line? Because I'm trying to convey to you that it's a higher dimensional flux field. Because every coil, as I had to learn, you're now having to learn, as it was taught to me by Scott, who was my mechanical engineer, chief, every coil has an associated magnetic field with it, except it's not just magnetism, it's spirit and magnetism. The field is magnetism, the flux is spirit. It's a flux field. So, did you know I was going to talk this long with each illustration? You didn't know that, did you? I told you, though, didn't I?
You warned me.
I said,
It's wonderful.
you can't miss.
I've never seen you finish out the.
Speak loud for me.
I've never seen you expire the gift and quit.
You know, I didn't understand.
The gift went as far as it could go.
Oh,
I've never seen
that's
you
funny.
max it out.
That's hilarious.
I'll have to lengthen it.
Our problem has always been that the magic hand never stops, and we're supposed to move on, and we have to wait for it forever, and there's this big pause. But now she says it wasn't long enough. So, okay, she knows the answer, so I'm not going to ask her. I'm going to ask Robert. Sorry, Robert. Roger. 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 4, 4 goes to 8, 7 goes to 5, 5 goes to 1, and the pattern repeats. It's periodic. You feel you're a little comfortable with that? Okay, so what happens with this? 3 goes to 9, 9 goes to 6. Robert, what is the next number, please?
Roger.
Roger. I always get everybody's names wrong because I'm in my own world when I'm doing this. What is the next number, please? It can only be a 3, 9, or 6. I'm giving you clues. 3, I'll tell you what I would guess if I was you in the audience. I would go 3, 9, 6, 6, 9, 3, 3, 9, 6. Wouldn't you think that?
Yeah.
I was going to say 3.
You would have said 3? Well, of course, because you're so difficult. Why would you have said 3? There is a reason.
Because I don't know why it would reverse direction.
He is right in a sense. And out of respect for him, because he really is right in a sense, I will answer that. But there's a slide that goes with it, so we're going to get this twice in this presentation. Because 3 and 6 can never touch, they're extreme opposites. They're the same as male and female. My opinion, I'm not an expert, it's just a hunch, that male is 3 and female is 6. It's because the hexagon is 6, and everything in nature is based on hexagon close packing. It's called closet packing. It has to do with the diamond gradient superconductivity because you can take 6 pennies around 1 penny, and it makes a hexagon. That's why tortoiseshell is hexagon. And so what happens is they had a big hexagon on the top of, what was it, Saturn. You could put 10 Earths inside it. At the top of it, everyone remember that hexagon? What is a spiral vortex doing making a hexagon shape? It's crazy to have but it's for a reason. It's hexagon close packing. The 2 most extreme numbers, the yin and yang, is 3 and 6, because 3 doubled is 6. 6 doubled is 12, which equals 3. 12 doubled is 24, which equals 6. 24 doubled is 48 equals 12 is 3. 3 and 6 are the furthest most extremes of each other, but everybody thinks that the yin and yang is a duality. I just showed you a duality, 3 and 6 back and forth. There is no such thing as a duality. It's all an optical illusion. There's no such thing as black and white.